Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. South Korea says it considers the U.S. its most important ally, but now that relationship strained a bit after Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained hundreds of South Koreans at a Hyundai LG facility in Georgia. Seoul says they might be able to return home sometime this week. Amy Kiley has more.
You'd be foolish not to think about this.
South Korea's top diplomat is in the U.S. today at a tense moment for relations between the countries. Foreign Affairs Minister Cho Hyun is visiting Washington as about 300 South Korean nationals are detained in Georgia. That's where ICE and other law enforcement raided a Hyundai plant last week. Korean Air says it could start flying home the detainees tomorrow.
ICE was doing right because they were here illegally.
An attorney for two of the detainees argues that's not the case for everyone ICE arrested.
Under the ESTA business visitor or the B1 business visitor program, you can come in and go to business meetings. You can do engineering oversight. You can do after sales service and installation, which is what these people were doing in the United States.
The raid is causing outrage in South Korea. Its businesses are investing billions in the U.S., much at the behest of President Donald Trump.
Obviously, they're going to have huge hesitation about investing in the U.S. if your employees are going to be treated like common criminals.
The Georgia plant is supposed to open next year as Hyundai's first U.S. facility dedicated to electric vehicles and batteries. Trump acknowledges setting it up requires workers with specialized skills.
We do have to work something out where we bring in experts so that our people can be trained so that they can do it themselves.
Amy Kiley reporting, News Channel Nebraska.
Maintain, nourish, and support your health by visiting our Good Health, Good Life shopping tab. You'll find select multivitamins, probiotics, and more designed for you. Make the Good Life even better and promote your health in 2025.
Closer to home, a central Nebraska man faces 2 felonies after authorities say a 12-year-old boy was strangled. 44-year-old Michael Prunty arrested late Sunday. Grand Island police say Prunty struck the boy and put him in a chokehold. He faces felony assault and strangulation charges. Prunty being held on $10,000 bond ahead of his preliminary hearing next month. A Kearney man back behind bars facing serious new charges just weeks after a judge extended his probation for a similar offense committed 2 years ago. Police say they recently arrested 43-year-old Jason Gunderson, who's accused of sexually assaulting and strangling his romantic partner, the same woman he was convicted of assaulting back in 2023. Gunderson was sentenced to 2 years probation in order to stay away from the victim, but court records show he's violated probation multiple times. Just last month, his probation officer requested a 9-month extension. That was approved just days before Gunderson was arrested again. He now faces 6 new charges, among them sexual assault, false imprisonment, and domestic assault. Economic news, U.S. tariffs hit car companies hard in July. Auto industry consulting firm Anderson Economic Group said car makers paid more than $1.4 billion to import cars and car parts from Canada and Mexico. This after a 25% tariff on cars and car parts went into effect this spring. General Motors, Stellantis, Ford, Tesla, and Hyundai all assemble many of their vehicles in the U.S., but they import a number of parts from Canada and Mexico. The automakers paid nearly $300 million in tariffs on car parts alone in July. Now, the Trump administration has said the idea behind the tariffs is to bolster domestic production. Well, along those lines, a company awarded millions in federal grants to establish a scandium mine in southeast Nebraska has finished exploratory drilling and says it's now ready to mine rare earth elements. Last month, the U.S. Department of Defense gave $10 million of its $336 million in designated production spending to Niacorp to set up domestic production of scandium, which strengthens aluminum alloys, makes them less susceptible to corrosion. The Colorado-based company said Monday it's completed initial drilling at its site near Elk Creek, which they've said will create a large domestic supply chain for defense system components.
Nebraska is going to be the center of a lot of attention when this mine opens up, because we will not be 100% dependent on foreign sources for these minerals anymore.
Scandium has not been mined domestically since 1969. NioCorp said Monday it plans to release the results of processing and analysis of the exploratory drilling program to the public later this year. There's some home buying anxiety in an uncertain economy. A recent report shows home purchases are getting canceled at a record rate. In July, roughly 1 in 7 home buys in the U.S. fell through. That's according to a Redfin analysis of pending sales data. Michael Yoshida takes a closer look.
Roughly 58,000 U.S. home purchase agreements were canceled in July, according to a Redfin analysis of pending sales data.
Part of that has to do with volatility in interest rates and home buyers just getting cold feet about how much they're paying.
Redfin's Daryl Fairweather says one of those sticker shocks for would-be buyers: rising insurance costs.
You often don't know how much you're going to be paying in insurance until after your offer is accepted. So that can be a bit of a shock if you get this big insurance payment, or maybe you can't find insurance at all. That can definitely cause a deal to fall through.
Another thing that could be at play: the balance of power in the housing market shifting towards buyers. With more homes to choose from compared to just a few years ago, people looking for a new house may not feel in a rush. And if during the inspection period they discover an issue they don't want to fix, or if a better home comes up for sale, then they could feel more comfortable backing out of the deal.
This is not good news for sellers, because if a deal falls through and they have to put the home back on the market, it's kind of like a scarlet letter, because future buyers think that there might be something potentially wrong with the home.
Fairweather says a shaky jobs market and economy is also causing some to hold off on a new long-term financial commitment, choosing to stay in their current house or even move to a rental until there's more economic certainty and stability. In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
Well, after checking the landscape of the fall semester and giving kids time to make changes, enrollment across the board almost unchanged in the University of Nebraska system. A dip of 111 students, the difference from this time last year, hardly a percentage point of the nearly 50,000 students taking classes on campuses in Lincoln, Omaha, Kearney, and Curtis. In fact, the biggest jump was at the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, which saw a 6% increase from the year prior. Professional students, first-time freshmen, also up year over year. Now, with the number of people signed up for school virtually the same, the number of credit hours did go up slightly. That's even as there was a close to 2.5% decrease in graduate students, along with a drop in international learners and non-residents. Kearney Public Schools lowering their tax levy again this year, even as costs rise and cash reserves are used to help balance the budget. The district's total budget for the upcoming school year, just under $60 million. More than $45 million of that will go toward general funding. Personnel costs make up about 86% of the budget. Total compensation climbed almost $4 million compared to last year. The district lowering the tax levy nearly 7 cents for the second year in a row. However, officials warn they're using cash reserves to balance the budget. They say that's a move that can't be sustained long term. The school officials emphasize the priority of maintaining quality services, in addition to being mindful about the community's tax dollars.
One of the options was to increase the levy and then go to that special meeting. So we are trying to be conservative with the county's tax dollars here, and trying to stretch the dollar that our community's putting in as far as we can, while also maintaining healthy accounts so that our school's protected in the future. So.
Several ongoing construction projects contributing over $11 million in cost to the budget this year. Those will leave the books sometime next year. Board members stressed the importance of having healthy financial reserves while continuing to support the district's growth and educational priorities. Well, after over a century of history and service, Zion Lutheran School in Pierce is being demolished. It's paving the way for new opportunities that school officials say will benefit students and the community alike. Hanky Hazelton has more.
You're looking at a building that was built in 1915, and to do a little bit of math, that's 110 years old. And when talking with the school, they said that a fire marshal came in to look at the situation, how can we add on? But they said, look, it's way past its use. It's served its purpose. It's not up to code anymore. And so the principal had said, you know, they need better security. They need more bathrooms. They are increasing their enrollment, so they need more space, among many other things. And so the question is now, well, what do? You got to bulldoze it. But once it's bulldozed, what exactly happens to that space, or what can it be utilized for?
It's planning to be green space right now because the new school building was built on the playground. And so we need that green space now for they can play at recess.
As for that green space, it's going to be utilized to plant trees and grass and even some plants, and it may include maybe boulders or some logs. The principal says just to kind of connect kids with natural nature and to be outside around the greenery. In Pierce, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
And finally, ghouls and goblins will be mixing with spirits. At the Railside in Grand Island, a ghostly gallivant through downtown Grand Island once again happening this fall for the Spirit and Undertaker Tours. The event sold out last year with tour guides sharing stories from the 1800s. If you're a little squeamish, don't worry, it's not a scare fest. In fact, it may be a little spiritual for some attendees.
The Undertaker tour was really interesting last year. The number of people that came on that who, I guess you'd say, claim that they have a connection with the other side. And they were very fascinated by the number of Undertakers that we have had down here. And people are just fascinated by the history of it and learning more and knowing what took place in different areas.
The first night features the Undertaker Tour. That's on Friday, September 26th. The Spirit Tour, October 3rd and 4th. Tickets for all those can be bought online. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.